That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther. I'm a flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther, flat earther.
That's okay though. For being so young, you're very, very smart. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Up for sound bites. This is awesome.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study with Karen B. and Just Jack. Welcome to episode 17. Hi, Jack.
Hi. Don't say that on a plane. Today is not only Shabbat Shalom, but Moed Tov, Chag Sameach, and a lot of other typical Hebrew sayings for this time. It is the middle of Sukkot, which is a week-long party commanded by the Creator in Leviticus 23. And it started Thursday, and we have some friends here, including Alex from Critical Inception, and we're camping and having a good time. I'm drinking lots of coffee and other beverages that make me feel a little funny, and it's been a good time. And I can't wait to see Karen because she's going to stop by sometime this week, and that'll be great. Love seeing her. So, yeah, it's going to be a good week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can't segue into the disclaimer, so whenever you're ready, I can read that.
You might as well just put it out there.
All right. And, of course, now it's going to take forever to open. Yay. All right. Just Jack's disclaimer. To the religious, if you believe it's wrong to study Scripture outside of your religion or denomination, if you believe your religious leaders or church fathers are incapable of having inherited anti-scriptural traditions of men, if you've already made up your mind about Scripture, including the Scripture should not be studied at all, then this stream is not for you. To others, if you are open-minded to others' opinions, if you haven't made up your mind about Scripture, if you've been turned off to religion but believe there's truth in Scripture that may have been changed or hidden by religion, if you live according to Scripture and like to dig in and discover more, then this stream is for you. We are looking at Scripture in the original language using concordances or dictionaries for root words, as well as context from a non-religious perspective, as well as life experience discussion. We are not here to argue with others about theology or doctrine by the traditions of men, including Catholicism, Christianity, or Judaism. We will be discussing the importance of origins and show how religions contradict the Scriptures. There we go.
Awesome. So do we want to do a little recap of what we did last week? Because last week was kind of a long one.
Yep, we got, and I promised I'd get a couple chapters in, and I did. Mm-hmm. And then this week's going to be really short. So, coming back to the previous one, I think this is a perfect time to do that. So we did 26 and 27. Mm-hmm. So let me pull up 26 here really quick, and we'll see what that was.
It's titled God's Promise to Isaac.
Yuck. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the first thing is that the promise that was to Isaac was because of his father. It wasn't because of Isaac himself. Abraham was such a connection to Jehovah that Isaac got a blessing by extension. And then the next thing that we looked at here is Isaac and Avimelech. There was yet another king, Avimelech, that dealt with Isaac the same way that he had to deal, the other Avimelech had to deal with Abraham, only he did it in a different way. So when Yitzhak was with his wife, he said that she's my sister, and same as Abraham did with his. But this king was like, get out of here. I don't want nothing to do with you. Get far away from me. And then his countrymen were like stopping up his wells or hijacking his wells. And eventually he saw that Yitzhak was prosperous regardless of the shenanigans. And he made a pact with him. He made a covenant with him. And they had yet another well that is similar in name is Beersheba, but it's just called the Sheva. And that distinguishes between the land of Beersheba and the city of Beersheba, between those two wells. And one of the wells was called Satan. We looked at that. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting for people to maybe consider looking at the origin of Satan, and that maybe it's not some invisible bad guy's name, but it just means anything that's in opposition. Mm-hmm. And then there we're looking at Esau took on a wife, and it was of the Hittites, that the Hittites, mm-hmm. that his parents didn't like very much. and it said that they were like very distraught about the whole situation. And let's see, what else was there? We did hit a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think the next chapter is where Yitzhak is dying, right? I'm gonna jump to the next chapter.
Right.
And Yitzhak was growing old, and Jacob put on some, Yaakov put on some goat skin to trick his father, to lie to him. And he said there was multiple attempts that Yitzhak was trying to find the truth, and Yaakov was like, no, I'm your son, Esav, really, it's me. Smell me, touch me, this is me. And then Esav comes back from hunting, and he's like, is there nothing left for me? And he gave it up twice, so his mother tells Yaakov to get out of Dodge and go back to her family, which if you remember the story of Rivka, that this is where she gave water to Avram's servant. Just like he asked the Creator, she gave water to him and to his camels to fill, and then that became his wife. So we're going full circle. Yaakov's going back to Rivka's hometown, and that's where we're at now.
Right. Okay.
And he's like, don't you dare marry a daughter of Chet.
Right. Well,
Like
that's what
did.
that's what Rivka says to Yitzhak, right?
If
At the very end.
Yeah, if Yaakov takes a wife from the daughters of Chet, like those who are the daughters of the land, what is my life to me? I'm gonna die. If my other son, my favorite son, marries a Hittite like Esav did, I'm gonna die. That would be the worst thing for me. That's basically what she's saying.
All right. And that's where we're at.
Yep, we're starting verse 28.
Any word says, does the word God made money? I heard that recently. Yes.
Yes, God means prosperity, deity of Babylon. It's about fortune and money and greed and all that jazz.
What's the number again? H.
Hold on. I think it's. Oh my gosh, I usually can remember it like right off.
I know
the
you
cuff,
say it all the time, and then I type it in, and it comes right up.
I think it's oh my gosh, I'm brain farting. Guys, I've been sleeping very little and partying a lot, so bear with me. Hold on.
But yes, God means
I think it's 46 or okay, sorry. No, it's 1408, 1409. Sorry.
There we go. Fortune, Babylonian deity of fortune.
From 1409?
From 1409, which is God, phonetically God, fortune.
Yep.
Wealth.
And that's why when the tribe of Gad, which we're going to run into very shortly because it's a child of Yaakov, but the child Gad is named by his mother, who is someone who does a lot of different deity worship, and she calls him God because Elohim has fortuned me. He's given me a fortune. He's given me multiple children. But they change it to troop because later on they decided that, what's a way we can spin this, really? That's what I think they were doing. Because they can say troop is just a fortune or a multitude of peoples. But if you look at it in its context, everywhere where God shows up and you just translate it as fortune or prosperity or anything else like that, it works in every case. Where troop is not necessary. I don't even, yeah. Anyway, all right, so thanks for the tangent, chat.
Yeah, that's always good to bring it up because a lot of people do ask that every now and then, and it's good to just keep saying it, because...
Yeah, it happens nearly every chat because I couldn't get the pop-out chat to work today for some reason, but like every chat, people will be like, God this and God that, and I just want to, help people understand, like, that's why they put on the money "In God We Trust." Like, it's about
Yeah.
prosperity, deity. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're really saying, that, you want money to bless us, well, you can take it. Like, I don't want that to be my prosperity.
Right.
Now, do I use money? Yeah, absolutely. Am I blessed by money? Absolutely. But that is not my provision. That's not where my life source comes from. It's not where my joy comes from. It's not where my strength comes from. It comes from the Creator with connecting to existence. Like this week of Sukkot, a week in the wilderness. Like, I've been outside since Thursday. I go in to, like, make my food or whatever, but then I'm right back outside. And it's great. Karen can verify that this week, just so happens this week, Thursday night, the weather just dropped. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it got cold all of a sudden. And it's like, isn't that a convenient coincidence that as soon as the coast starts, the temperature drops so that you can have a nice comfy sleep? You get some blankets and you're cuddled in your tent and, or your sukkah. It's great. I love it. My
Mm-hmm.
wife loves it because, typically when we're in the house together and we're sleeping, we don't get to cuddle much because it's too hot. And now it's like, come over here, cuddle in with me. So it's great. I love it. So many tangents. Sorry.
Yeah, and actually today is the equinox for our area. Today is the closest to equal day and night here.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right in the midst.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And also, it's always by the light of the full moon as well. So you can stay up late and party and you got light. And, it was so bright last night that you couldn't even see the stars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the moon has been pretty bright last couple
Yep.
days.
Yep.
All
So
right.
anyway, thanks for the tangent, guys.
Yeah, that's cool. Always good. Cheers.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a short one because it's a short chapter. We only got 22 verses, so.
Right. All right. Where are we at? Here we go. All righty. Okay, 28, chapter 28, verse 1. And Itzhak called Yaakov and blessed him and commanded him and said to him, do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan.
Well, I thought he said, don't take of the wife of the Hittites.
That's
Well,
what I
it's
thought.
it's by extension, because Canaan, from the descendants of Canaan, Canaan,
Okay.
the Hittites come out of that, and that's the local tribe of Canaan near them. And if you remember, these are the people that they deal with where there's no law outside the walls for them. That's their, that's their tribal policy. So that's why they'll go out and steal your wife or, whatever the case may be, which is why they started the pattern of, saying she's my sister.
Right, okay. Arise, go to Padan Aram, to the house of Betuel, your mother's father, and take a wife for yourself from there, from the daughters of Lavan, your mother's brother.
Right. So Padam Aram means the redeeming exalted. So it's the exalted redeeming. And then Betuel is
It's a
it
house
is
of
done
El.
the house of El. Yes. Right. So like Bethel is house of El, but the Vav in the middle means you're doing it. Like it's the action of house of El.
Okay.
And it's gonna be interesting because Bet El is gonna come up again shortly. So that's why I'm pointing this out. And Lavan, of course, is the mother's brother who the servant of Abraham met and said, I'd like to take your sister back to my master because he wants a wife for his son.
Okay. And El Shaddai bless you, and make you fruitful, and increase you, and you shall become an assembly of the peoples.
I think that's pretty clear. Yeah. El Shaddai is, the strong leader destroyer. Like there's nothing he can't conquer. He's the boss man.
Mm-hmm. and give you the blessing of Avraham to you and your seed with you, so that you inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Avraham.
Okay, so here Yitzhak is not blessing him with himself, right? He's like, he was so tight with Yehovah, so, I want you to have that connection that Abraham had, right? Not as like a second generation, but like tapped in to Elohim.
So Yitzhak sent Yaakov away, and he went to Padan Aram, to Lavan, the son of Betuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rivkah, the mother of Yaakov and Esau.
Yeah, so if you see the Aram and Arami is the same word, right? Padam Aram, which is exalted, and Arami, which is plural of the exalted, right? And then today's vernacular, they're called the Syrians.
Okay.
And there is a Hebrew word that's closer to Syria in Hebrew, but they're not called that yet. And that happens later on.
Okay. Okay. And Esau saw that Yitzhak had blessed Yaakov and sent him away to Padan Aram to take himself a wife from there. And that as he blessed him, he gave him a command, saying, "Do not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan."
Okay, now Esau already has a daughter from Canaan. He has a couple of them.
I mean, a wife,
Hittites.
right? Not a daughter.
Yeah, he has a couple of Hittite wives.
Right.
So he's watching this and he's like, why are you blessing him and telling him to get a different type of wife? Are you trying to say that, just imagine Esau like being involved in this conversation. There's a point to, showing this. Like, it's going to cause Esau to be, a little bit more jealous, a little bit more wanting,
Mm-hmm. And that Yaakov had obeyed his father and his mother and had gone to Padan Aram. So Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Yitzhak.
Yeah, it's worse than that. It says dysfunction.
And Esau
in other words, it was evil in their eyes.
Oh yeah, dysfunction. And Esau went to Ishmael and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, and sister of Nevoiath, to be his wife beside the wives he had.
Yep.
So
Esau went to Ishmael. If you remember, Ishmael was kind of kicked out of the group there, and they were doing their own thing.
Uh-huh.
And then he's going back to Ishmael to, okay, so, you don't like my Hittite wives, so let me go get other wives that are related to us, by extension.
Okay. And Yaakov went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran.
Beersheba, which is the well, which is the well of the oath, right?
Right.
Now this is the city, so this is the...
And Haran means burning?
Let's see.
That's what, right here?
Harana, burning,
Harana, burning.
Yeah, and so, even though they changed the pronunciation a little bit in the scriptures, they still don't add the on the end, which can be by extension the ing, right? So if you're going towards Israel, you could say Israela. So you're Israeling, like you're heading towards it. And it sounds kind of weird to us. Like, let's say if I was going to Charlotte, North Carolina, I would say I'm Charlotting.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like that. Yep. But that's kind of the extension with the hey on the end, which either makes it feminine or adds an ing.
Well, it's kind of like camping, I guess.
Yeah, going to the camping. Yeah.
All right. And he came upon a place and stopped over for the night, for the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place, and he put it at his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep.
Yeah, and this is a temporary stop. And yeah, he's using a stone for a pillow.
And he dreamed and saw a ladder set up on the earth, and its top reached to the heavens, and saw messengers of Elohim going up and coming down it.
Okay, so some people are going to be like, oh, I can make 6 weeks of videos about this one verse. Anyway, because there's a lot of, the whole thing about Jacob's ladder. This is that, right? But in reality, it's just a lifting up mound. It's not necessarily a ladder. And like you could say a ramp, or I kind of say it like it reminds me of an escalator because they're going up and they're coming down. And it's a standing up, right? So it's elevated. And of course it's messenger, and this actually is the suffix of. So this is messengers of Jehovah. Of Elohim, sorry. Messengers of Elohim rather than, messenger Elohim.
Okay.
Remember when we talked about that? Like there was no of
right.
A lot of times. In this place, it literally has an of there. So.
Okay. And see, Jehovah stood above it and said, I am Jehovah, Elohim of Abraham, your father, and the Elohim of Yitzhak. The land on which you are lying, I give it to you and your seed.
Yeah, and it's not actually Elohim here, it's Elohe. Elohe, which is the El of.
Okay.
Or Eloah of. So strong leader of.
Okay.
Not Elohim. It's not plural here, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall break forth to the west and to the east, to the north and the south, and all the clans of the earth shall be blessed in you and your seed.
All right, so we kind of looked at this before in the blessing of Avram, like the language is very similar, the east, the north, the south, and the west. And remember, north is Polaris, which is the what the watchers would look for. But I actually had to go back and edit previous notes because I found out that the root for north is also the root for treasure.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, I think we should throw that in there because that's like the north is a treasure. That's very interesting. And then the rest of them are all pretty much the same. I did a little bit more extensive research into it just to make sure I didn't miss another nugget on the other cardinal directions. But yeah, north being Polaris, which is treasure. And sometimes it's used specifically as treasure, not as north. You understand what I'm saying? So, but it has the exact same root word, the same root letters. So I found that very interesting.
That's cool.
But yeah, but by extension, all the families of the ground in seed of yours. So it's not just clans, right? So it can be clans, but it's like all the different families.
I'm trying to find where
You have to.
Can you see
okay,
it in
so
here?
it's one of those things that has the same spelling, but it's not. They broke it up into different definitions. So let's go back to. Hold on, let me pull it up. KJV to get the number. And where's north? Call me out on it. Call me out. That's good.
I'm just curious. I want to see.
No, it's good. I'm commending you. I'm applauding you. Good job. All right. So if you go to DVD and do the word list, which how do you pull up the word list on yours? Well, if you look right there. Whoa. Go back to north. It was there. I just saw it. Okay, right there, properly hidden, right? And then if you go to the link where it comes from, so click on that and define that.
How do I make it go?
I
They
thought it
changed
was-
something where
I thought it was right-click to find, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but when you're already in the definition and you want to go back, then they don't make it easy to keep going to the root anymore. It's like they changed it.
Gotcha. Okay, so here you see it's, hide and hoard and protect and all that stuff, right? So now go back, using that same number, go back to the ancient Hebrew. And it's both Sadi, Pei,
Hide treasure. There it is.
Yeah,
Boom.
the hidden treasure. The north is the hidden treasure.
What is hidden? Oh, that is interesting.
Yep.
And it totally makes sense with everything.
Yep. So that's why if you look at my definition there, it said hide, hid, watch the collection, treasured, right?
Yes.
So that is very interesting. Like none of the other cardinal directions have anything that deep attached to it.
Right.
So that's, yeah.
Okay. All right. And see, I am with you and shall guard you wherever you go and shall bring you back to this land, for I am not going to leave until I have done what I have spoken to you.
Okay. This is a serious promise. He did not give Yaakov, or Yitzhak, sorry. He did not give Yitzhak the same blessing. If you remember how he blessed Yitzhak, he's like, your dad was so good, I'm going to hook you up, right?
Right.
But Yaakov, he knows Yaakov's heart, and he knows Yaakov is all in. And that's why he was the one that got the blessing. That's why he was the one who got the inheritance. He had favor in the eyes of the Creator. He saw the future that Yaakov could have, and he saw the future that Esav could have, and he's like, I'm backing Yaakov, right?
Right.
And it says, guard and protect I do completely that which you walk, and return I do toward the ground, because no leave you again. That which I do make action to that which causing order to do. So this is my word. So it's not just I spoken it to it, it's davar. This is my word. And this is important because a word is different than just speak. So there is a word that speak, which is a mer, and that just, and he spoke and said, blah, 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 blah. But this is like, I'm giving you my word, right? It's like that.
Okay. And Yaakov awoke from his sleep, and truly Yehovah is in this place, and said, truly Yehovah is in this place, and I did not know it.
Yeah, and awoke from sleep is interesting. It's a cutting off of the divide. So asleep is like it's the other side, so to speak. It's the second part. It's the divide.
That's an interesting way to
So
look
it's
at
like
it.
it's like the root of shin. If you remember, shin is 2 teeth. That means to divide or or separate, So that's the root of it. So he's cut off from the divide when he wakes up.
Okay. And he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of Elohim, and this is the gate of the heavens.
Okay, I really like what the scriptures did here, but go to KJV and see how they said it.
Okay. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven.
Okay, so afraid and dreadful, and then go back to the scriptures version.
How awesome is this place?
Yeah, he said afraid. They said afraid there too, but this is that thrown back.
Afraid
right?
and awesome.
So if you're like, whoa, like you could do that out of fear, or you could do that out of awe, right?
Right.
And I always hate this stuff because like how it says like dreadful and stuff like this. Like back in the day, and awful also. Back in the day, Old English, when it said dreadful, it could be a good or a bad thing in the Old English. Like it's just something that's so severe reaction that it causes dread. Like even excitement is considered dread. Okay.
Right.
But it's like, if you think about like even today's English, it sounds really screwed up because we have awful and awesome, right?
Right.
And if something is full of awe, it sounds really cool, right? But no, awful is bad.
Right.
And awesome, just a little bit of awe is the best.
Right.
It's all screwed up, man.
That's
English,
funny.
English is screwed.
Yeah, English is screwed up.
So I like the way that they translated this. How awesome is this place? But the afraid part I don't agree with. So I just put, and he's thrown back. What continuance of throwback? Okay, so continue, do, thrown back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is whoa, like like super whoa.
Okay. So he just had his mind blown.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't you? Like
yeah. And Yaakov,
you're watching through the veil, so to speak. You're seeing the other realm.
Right.
How the messengers travel from the seen existence to the unseen existence and back.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And Yaakov rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put at his head and set it up as a standing column and poured oil on top of it.
So as a monument, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go back for a second. We'll go back to 19 in a second, but I want to go back for a second because I wanted to show you this ladder thing. I don't know if it shows up on your side, though, the way what I'm going to look for. It's on verse 12, and then...
Verse 12.
Yep.
This one?
Yep, and then change it to KJV plus. So you can see the number there. Okay. And then after ladder, that H 5551.
Uh-huh.
Right-click on that and then do a search for it on how many times it shows up in the scriptures.
Once.
So how do they, determine what that word means, right? If they already have a preconceived idea of a ladder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's something that has something to do with an elevation, and it has to do with a lifting up.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not clear that it's a ladder. I just wanted to put that out there because it could be any kind of elevated device, right? It could be anything that elevates them up and down.
It could be electromagnetism.
It could be electromagnetism. Like I said, it could be an escalator, right? It's a spiritual escalator,
Mm-hmm.
But what it's doing, what he's looking at, it's hard for him to even comprehend it because he's seeing, them going from one realm to the next, right?
Right.
So I just wanted to point that out that, if you think that they got it down, like, oh, they know this word is ladder, you better look up, how many times it even shows up. How do they define this word? And there's a few of them like that within the first couple of Genesis. It's like, where I'm like, I don't know why they defined it that way because the root of it means this. So why are they jumping to there?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we get into that in a couple verses here, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go back to 18. I think we were. Yeah. Okay. So we're on verse 19 now. But I had to point that out. I don't know why I was told to go back to that verse, but I just felt like it was very important to show that to people.
I think it's interesting that it only shows up one time.
Yeah. And so they take their best guess, if you will.
Right. And he called the name of that place Beit El. However, the name of that city had been Luz previously.
Yep. So Beit El, if you remember, we were talking about him going to Betuel, and now he's at Beit El, which is House of El.
Mm-hmm. And Yaakov made a vow saying, "Seeing Elohim is with me and has kept me in this way that I am going and has given me bread to eat and a garment to put on, when I have returned to my father's house in peace and Yehovah has been my Elohim, then this stone which I have set as a standing column shall be Elohim's house, and of all that you give me I shall certainly give a tenth to you."
So he's inspired to give the tithe. Now, Abraham was also inspired to give the tithe when he interacted with the Melchizedek, the righteous king. And when you see further, in the scriptures towards Exodus, there's a major distinction for the tithe, and I wanted to hit on this too, and I'm glad it was in this verse because it's the tithe is for the widows, the orphans, those in need, and the Moedim. That's the only thing that the tithe is supposed to be designated for. So, if people want to donate for any reason, donations are different than tithes, because, I'm not a widow, an orphan, and currently I'm not one in need, praise Yah. But, I want people to understand, like, you're not supposed to give your money to worship leaders or building propagators or whatever you want to call them, car buyers, You want to be careful to take, it actually talks about guarding your tithe. That means that you're taking full responsibility. You're not just giving it to some dude and say, well, what he does with my tithe, that's up to him. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. You take care of that. I put away my 10%, and that is my responsibility.
Okay.
I had to put that out there because I know there's a lot of, people that are transitioning out of churchianity and whatnot, and, it's a big business, and that one of the things that they say is that the tithe belongs to the church, but it doesn't. It's not like Yaakov here started a church and he called it Beit El, like that's the new church.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of churches out there that are called Bethel churches.
Mm-hmm.
And Bethel meaning the house of God. And guess what? They want you to bring your tithe there. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they're using the scripture to, twist the narrative to say, oh yeah, that tenth, yeah, bring it to Beit El, bring it to Bethel Church,
Yeah. That's a huge thing in the Mormon church too.
All right. Well, it's the thing in all the churches. Trust me. Like I've been through the whole gambit of churchianity, and all of them require tithe. Even the ones that are like non-denominational, spirit-filled, rolling on the floor, all that kind of stuff. They still require the tithe of you.
Yeah.
And the fanciest one that I went to, the most religious kind is like the Lutheran Church, which is one step down from Catholicism. They require the tithe, and everyone in between, I've had a lot of experience in a lot of different churches, and they, if you belong to the church or you worship here, then the tithe belongs here, and that's not how the Creator intended it at all.
I agree.
All right, Frank, I'm going to tell you again, man, put an H on the end of Yehovah. Yeah, vacuum tube, Jacob's ladder, yep, the scientific hijacking. And people talk about DNA being Jacob's ladder and stuff like that. Look, if you allegorize it too much, then you're missing the plain truth, right? You're missing the surface information.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful about doing that. That's what I said. If you say Jacob's ladder, if you talk about this verse is about Jacob's ladder, people will make 6 weeks of videos about it. Well, it's just, a vision that he saw of going from the physical to the metaphysical.
It's funny as we go through this, there's a lot of parts that in this book that people have made a huge thing about and make to be a much bigger deal than really it is.
Yep. But yet the things that are huge deals they completely ignore or they don't know anything about, right?
Right?
It's crazy like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because of the way that they programmed us to look at things. You're typically looking at it through the eyes of some establishment, right? To tell you this is how you're supposed to see things. So like, Genesis 1, the creation story has been read so many times by so many people, and it's like it's become this, this petty little, snippet story. But then when you break it down in the Hebrew, it's profound. Like it's full of scientific information. It's full of metaphysical information. It's full of esoteric information. It's all there.
Mm-hmm.
But, they're never going to see that because that's what they do. They've made it so minuscule when it's so powerful. And then stuff that's, they blow some little thing into huge proportions,
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy.
So Frank Logic came out and visited me last week, and he was at the I just told you earlier, I can't think of it. Oh, Georgia Guidestones. He was at the Georgia Guidestones, and I'm like, I'm only an hour and a half away, man. Come visit me. So he come over, and we hung out till, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, boy.
And then the next day, we both drove back to Florida. He lives, like, south of Orlando, and I had to drive way further south than that to Sarasota to pick up family, south of Sarasota. And on the way, I went and I met another guy, Chris, that Frank introduced me to. He was my my second one-on-one phone call was Chris. So it was really cool to hang out with these people, and they're keeping Sakota right now and camping and enjoying the nice weather change.
Yeah.
How's weather, Frank? How's weather?
Well, from what I understand, Florida is always warm.
Oh yeah, I lived there most of my life, and like you could go outside and be dripping with sweat within a second. High humidity, high heat, because it's surrounded by water, and the oceans and the Gulf just cooks, and it just all that steam just builds up on Florida.
Oof. Looks pretty though.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's like, people were like, if I lived in Florida, I'd go to the beach every day. And I was like, well, you do that for a while, but then then you get used to it. It's just like anything else.
Yeah.
Where after a while, it's like, okay, so do we really want to take the children to the beach and then have the car covered with sand everywhere and in your crack? And it gets complicated,
Yeah. All right.
So I'm just scanning the chat here. Yeah, I agree. Ammo Walk, referring to the Hebrew roots. If you attach yourself to any label, you're screwed, right? So the way that I came to Torah truth was through the Hebrew root movement. But then they have a certain line that they won't cross. Like, okay, this is the way we understand it. There's no other way to explain it, et cetera, et cetera. And then they bring in other stuff like, Judaistic numerology and Kabbalah and all that other stuff. And they start, I know people that are like, I call them like loophole believers. Like, how can I get out of doing what it says if I can theorize a new spiritual definition for the word that I don't actually have to do it type of thing. So it can be, it's a good introduction to the Torah because most people are coming out of churchianity and hearing about the Torah for the first time. But yeah, I'm not Hebrew roots. I used to be because I wanted the title. But now I just tell them I'm a scriptural literalist skeptic. And people don't like the word skeptic when I'm talking about my faith. They're like, how can you be skeptical and have faith? Well, that's because I'm constantly questioning my belief system to make sure it's right, to make sure it's lined up, because I've changed over the years and I continue to change. It's a growth process. You start understanding how the Creator works a little bit more. You learn the nuances of what, connects you and what disconnects you,
Yep.
All sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, see, Frank lives in Florida. He says he hasn't been to a beach in a while. Yep. The church decides and declines whoever they want to help, and the buildings get bigger. That was one of the first tells. The reason that I even came to this whole belief system and looking into stuff is I was actually training to be a pastor. I was 1 week away from being named an associate pastor. And when I came to Torah, I did my first teaching on that subject, and it was well received, but then the pastor started teaching against everything because he couldn't have that because, one thing leads to another, and then you no longer need a building, you no longer need tithe, you no longer need a pastor as your spiritual authority, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh, you don't need all that stuff?
Nope.
You mean you can be responsible for yourself?
Imagine that.
You can think for yourself?
And I mean, like, when
you
Karen
can be
comes,
a good man without somebody telling you have to do certain things.
well, it goes both ways, right? You can be an asshole all by yourself without an invisible bad guy telling you how to, right?
Right.
But like when Karen comes over here, you know, and Karen and oh my gosh, brain fart. Oh my gosh.
And Karen
The
comes
guy
over.
that lives with you, I can't think of his name. Ted and Brian. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so when they come over here, yeah, I know Ted Sommer. I don't know why. It's probably from all the sleeplessness and partying. I have to blame it on that. But anyway, when they come over here, we're having assembly, right? We're assembling and we're questioning things, and we're interacting with nature, and we're interacting with Bang Bang for fun. But that's a true assembly. Nobody's in charge. Nobody's telling each other what to do. We contemplate things. We talk about things, you know.
Well,
That's
and
a
when
true
all
assembly.
these people in the Bible talk to Jehovah or the Creator, none of them go into the church first.
Right.
In fact, I don't see
when-
any of them talking about going to church.
Nope. In the future, like they had the tabernacle in the desert, right? And when they got established in the land, King David says, "I want to build you a temple, a building." And he's like, "Well, what do I need a building for?" Like, he actually questions it, and he's like, "Well, I see that your heart's in it, so I'll let you build the thing." But like, that wasn't even the plan of the Creator to have a building at all.
Right.
That's man's idea. Like, we need a place, we need a dedicated building to say this is your place. Where, you know, Yaakov here, he takes a pile of rocks, pours some oil on it, and he says, "Here's a place."
Right?
You know?
I mean, this entire place, anywhere you go.
Yeah, and it's just like this place, my property. I've dedicated it to the will of the Creator. And when I have people on my property that are going against the will of the Creator, like if they're creating strife, or if they're speaking against that there is a Creator, or even if they push a globe earth too hard, I'll say, "Well, this property is not for that. Bye. Take care. Take care of them. Bye now." And when we had some code enforcers come out here early in the days when we first moved out here, I explained to them, like, "Yep, I don't need you on my property. Take care of them. Bye-bye now." And they left. You know?
That's funny.
Critical Inception, Alex says, "We definitely have fun with Bang Bang." Yeah, we did a little shooting last night, and him and my brother shot down the day before, and yep. Yeah, we exploded a watermelon.
Nice.
Yes. Gaseous brain today, yeah. I'm floating, for sure. I mean, I had Yom HaKippurim, which was 24 hours of fasting and staying awake, right? And then 2 days later, I drove down to Florida and back, and I have a very strict diet, and I couldn't stop anywhere to eat. So it was another staying awake and fasting. So by the time I got back, I was freaking high as a kite, man. And I've taken a couple naps since then, so I've come down a lot, but I'm still a little, spirit-minded, if you will. I'm kind of like half into it, But I was trying to make excuses why I shouldn't do this stream today, right? Like, a lot of stuff's going on. I'm super busy. I barely got this chapter translated, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to do it. And then that night, like, I was convicted because I took some time to do some CAD work yesterday, and I was like, I'm not going to take time to do the translating, and my CAD work crashed, and I lost all the work that I did, and I automatically thought you should have been translating scripture instead. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I texted you, and I says, maybe later. There's no way I'm going to get up early tomorrow, maybe around 3 in the afternoon. And then I was woken up at 7:30 this morning, and all I could think in my head was translate scripture. I was like, dang it. All right, fine. You win. So then I came in there, I got up and I set up all the equipment. I'm on the porch right now. I'm typically, in my bed because that's my studio. But I'm going to change the background effect now that there's not people walking back and forth. But you can see I'm on my porch. There's my front yard. There's the trees. And there's Alex Critical Inception's tent, and there's a dog. You can see the dog. And yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're having a blast, man. It's been a great week so far, and it's not done yet. And then next month we have Flattoberfest. So
That's right,
awesome.
Flattoberfest.
It's going to be a good couple months for me. It was a really hard early part of the year for me, but everything's turning around, and I love the way things are going.
Yes, awesome. Fantastic. All right.
And as far as you heart spamming dudes, that's naked lady butts and the seed of abortion. I've told you many times. You know it. Zulu knows. Zulu knows.
Yeah, Zulu knows, and he uses them the most.
How do we keep Sukkot? Okay, so Sukkot, straight up, it's about dwelling in the wilderness for a week, and it also commands that you must celebrate. So it is a 7-day wilderness party, is how I explain it. It's that simple. The root of Sukkot, the oat makes it plural, and a suk is a thicket or an intertwining of sticks. So it's a temporary dwelling made of sticks. The simplest way you could do it is to pitch a tent, right? But if the weather permits, then I'll build an actual sukkah. I'll actually cut down branches and intermingle them together and make like a makeshift tent. But there was a lot going on this week, and we just pitched a tent. So, but it's been, yeah, we have like 5 extra guests that we were not even expecting, and that's another thing that Sukkot's about. It's about assembling. Getting together with, like-minded peoples and hanging out and partying. You're not supposed to do it alone.
Yeah.
If you're alone, you're doing it wrong.
For sure. You're supposed to be together, and that's part of, this is actually great because look at what they're trying to keep us from doing now. All these bastards, these evil government bastards trying to keep us from getting together and being together. And that's exactly what we need to keep doing. So it's great.
The creator commands it for a week every 6 months. You have to get together. You have to have a party.
So there you go.
Not just get together, but you have to party too. You got to unwind, for that 6 months.
Right. There you go. Decompress.
Decompress, exactly.
Everybody should do it.
And the wilderness one is, it's quite obvious. Once you get into wilderness, you can connect to the spiritual more and to the creator. And, I watch a lot of, YouTube, and sometimes I even watch Mind Zombie TV. And for this whole week, I cut myself off, this is probably the only YouTube really I'm going to be paying attention to,
Yeah.
We, Alex and I went down memory lane, and we watched some of the old videos that we first got into in Flat Earth, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not even catching up on my YouTube videos, so.
I'm not on YouTube very much these days. I'm trying to not use YouTube so much, and I'm trying to get people to transition off of YouTube.
Yeah, nice segue. Everybody subscribe to Karen B on Rockfin.
Well, or Twitch. I stream on Twitch too.
I might as well bring this up to you. I got an email the other day on how to support me. It's in the description of the video.
Yeah. YouTube. Everything's in the description on YouTube. I can't fit as much in the description on Rockfin, but on YouTube, all the links in the description are there for Jack's Patreon, his email, his channel. It should all be in there.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to share, maybe not, but if you look in the chat, our chat of this Skype, I sent you a screenshot of my Cash App card. If you want to share that with people.
Do
you remember that?
No, I don't see it.
How do I open the chat? Oh, there's it. Okay, it's a little bubble there. All right. I'm going to scroll through. We sent a lot of stuff to each other.
A lot of that was today. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear
All
you.
right. Yeah, we had audio issues today, and it ended up being my fault, even though I thought it was hers.
Trying to blame me again.
It's not like it hasn't been your fault before, but
Well, true. But this time it wasn't.
all right, I don't have it, man. I gotta share that sometime, because what I did is I put a bunch of flat Earth clues onto my Cash App card. I have no parallax, water always level, raises to eye level, doesn't disappear over the horizon, zoom in, crepuscular rays. Like, I got all of this on a little itty bitty Cash App card, and it's all legible too.
That's funny.
So I've actually, me and Frank, we went to Wally World to pick up. We were picking up a memory stick for him to get some videos that I wanted to share with him. And this guy is like in a bind, and he says, "Hey, can you buy this belt for me? I'll put money in your Cash App." So I hand him the Cash App card, and Frank's like, "Yep, that's what it says. The Earth is flat." So it was an opportunity to flat smack someone, just by handing them my Cash App card.
That's funny.
Because on the front of it says, $ JustJackFE or whatever. So, yep, Yehovah is a party father. That's right. And just to let you know, I mimic the Creator. As soon as my children go through the change, right, they start sprouting hairs in their pits. Let's put it that way. My children are permitted to drink on my property. They're not permitted to go elsewhere and drink, but they're permitted to drink on my property.
Wow.
It's not against the law to let your children have a sip of wine on your own property. So.
Better they do it there than somewhere else.
My wife is concerned.
Is she?
Exactly. When I was...
fucking call somebody.
Uh-oh.
I'm just telling her not to yell and cuss on my stream, man. It's like so rude. She's just concerned, of trolls.
That's fine. What are they going to do?
But anyways, I don't know
you
about
are.
you, but I was drinking as early as 14 years old and hanging out with a bunch of ne'er-do-wells and,
I used to take sips off my mom's beer when I was little.
Word.
I liked the salty, fizzy beer.
FYI, clear disclaimer, I do not get my children drunk. I let them have a drink, a mixed drink, They're not here doing shots or anything.
Right. All right.
So, yep, 15th day of the 7th month according to the Hebrew calendar. Yep. Today is the 18th day. I have my phone here somewhere. I have a calendar on my Google Calendar that tells you the Hebrew calendar. What? Is it the 17th day? Yep. It's the 17th day, Sukkot day 3. He has my Google Calendar. So, yeah. So it's very different. And what is this called? September? 7? Sept?
Full
October,
moon's
8.
in Taurus right now, too. Awesome.
October is 8. November is 9. December is 10. Yep. They got it all screwed up.
Yeah. They do. All right.
I let my children taste the wine and they give a yuck face expression. Yep.
I didn't like wine when I was little either, but I did like beer.
Yeah, I'm not a beer fan even today, so.
All right.
All right, it was a good stream.
Good stream, yes.
It was short, but thankfully we have chat.
Yeah, it was short one. That's okay. I hope y'all are enjoying your Sukkot. And Monday we will be showing you the Flatoberfest Flat Earth billboard. Woot woot.
Nice. yeah, I'm gonna join them, so I'll probably be on camera, and then they're gonna come out to my place and hang out and bang in the backyard. So,
Yeah. Right on. All right,
Good
everybody. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next
Shabbat
week.
Shalom, Chag Sameach, Moed Tov, all that good stuff. It's
Shabbat
still flat.
Shalom.
Or still flat.
Yeah, there you go.